Hi everyone, welcome back to Online Darts here at the Target Sports Fishing Stars. Got Matchroom's Eddie Hearn. Eddie, talk us through the fishing again. You've turned up.
I can't fish.
Like everyone else.
I don't really know what to wear, to be honest with you. Like when you don't fish and you go into the cupboard in the morning for a day of fishing, is it tracksuit bottoms? Is it a suit? I don't know. Is it waders or whatever they're called? So I just went somewhere in the middle. And again, I don't really know what I'm doing. Unfortunately for me, my old man is probably the keenest fisherman in the world and told me I had to come today and there was no way to get out of it. Last year, someone was casting in for me the whole time and I was just catching fish. I think I come third last time, 2 years ago. Yeah, so no, looking forward to it. Obviously, it's a busy week for us, but nice to get a bit of fresh air.
Come on to the box in a minute. I just want to talk a bit of darts with you as we're a darts channel. Obviously, we all know that you don't have a massive involvement with the PDC, even though you're a director. But moving forward, obviously Baz is not going to go on for forever. Are you going to maybe get involved with the PDC more when he decides to retire?
That's the conversation at the moment. Obviously, he got a bit of attention earlier this year by having a heart attack. We don't know if that was real or staged. And I think he realises that sooner or later he's going to be stepping back. He'll never step out because the passion he has. And by the way, if he did step out, it would be bad news for darts and it would be bad news for fishing because it's his energy, snooker. Sorry, it's his energy that's taking the sport where it is. So I don't want to just say, oh, I'm his son, so I've got to take over darts, because if I don't have the time, the passion and the energy, I can't do as good a job as he's doing. And also, don't forget, we've got a great team there. I mean, Matt Porter does an amazing job as chief executive, the board are fantastic. So we've got a great setup. So I don't want to rock the boat and just come in myself, and I'm not looking to come in and make silly changes and sort of turn the sport upside down. We don't need to. We're in a good place. The only challenge we have right now is on the crowds, and that's a challenge that all sports are facing in terms of bringing the same kind of revenue in for the events. If the World Championship doesn't have live gates, the money generated is probably 40% down, 50% down. So it's a catastrophic problem for all sports. So I think someday you'll see me take over the reins of Matchroom, but in general, I think the running of the sport will always be with Matt Porter and the chief exec. And listen, if I can help bringing in sponsors or raise the profile of the sport, so be it. Fantastic.
A little bit of cross between darts and boxing here. Obviously, the PDC and Sky did an amazing job with the World Match Play behind closed doors. I know you said to Coogan yesterday you're going to do a couple of September shows behind closed doors. Can you take some of what Sky and the PDC did into those shows?
Yeah, I think the amazing thing that the PDC did was to pipe in crowd noise in the arena.
Yeah, it was great.
Actually, I got a text on the board WhatsApp group for the PDC saying, can the players hear the crowd noise? And I laughed and thought, what a stupid thing to say. And then Matt replied, yes, they can.
Yeah, we were there on the media balcony.
That's unique in itself, because all these sports that are taking part behind closed doors don't have crowd noise piped in. So it's quite weird for the players to sort of, finish on a double, turn round, and they're sort of. But it was great because you didn't actually know that it was crowd noise because of their reactions.
Yeah.
So I thought the match play was brilliant, and I wasn't sure about darts behind closed doors. But let's not kid ourselves. Nothing will compare to the live crowd. Doesn't matter if it's boxing, football, and especially darts at the World Championship. I mean, it's, so. There's no one pushing harder to the government than my old man to try and bring those crowds back in. So we just have to wait and see. Hopefully that these numbers keep diminishing and we can start bringing crowds back in. But the challenge is to create a television product without that atmosphere that the broadcasters are still happy with. And I think it was a big box tick with a World Match Play. It was a big box tick for Fight Camp. And that's really the key, because broadcasters will argue, well, it's not the same, is it? You're not delivering the same product. AKA, can I have a discount? And we can't take a discount from the broadcasters and have no gate.
Yeah.
Because, I think any other sport would be looking right now at the prize money and saying, we're going to have to bring the prize money down. And once you go down that route, it's a dangerous, dangerous slope. And I think you're lucky enough to have my old man who would say, no way. We are not going backwards. Even if we have to lose money, we're not going backwards. And that's great news for the players, because all sports stars, and I speak of boxing as well, their purses, their prize money is being looked at the moment, saying, we have to reduce costs because the same revenue is not being created.
Definitely, and looking at it, obviously Fight Camp coming up, the biggest one of the week this week, Dillian White headlining, great fight. Obviously he flies in today, I'm led to believe.
Yes, he's had like 4 or 5 months in Portugal.
Oh, that's mad, isn't it?
He flew out just before the lockdown because he was supposed to fight on May the 2nd. made a 4th, and he's ended up staying out the whole time. So he's in unbelievable shape, as is Alexander Povetkin, who turned up in some strange outfit the other day. But you don't want to say they don't look great. No. It's going to be a very tough fight, very dangerous fight, but Dillian's in great shape, and obviously we've got Katie Taylor against Delphine Pursuit rematch on there as well. So this is the first mega event returning to boxing since the lockdown.
Ladies and gentlemen,
so
this is your 5-minute warning. 5 minutes now until the all-in.
Sure, there must be a little bit tempted just to roll Fight Camp on for one more.
Yeah, well, we've been sort of toying with the thought of running Fight Camp on for another 4 or 5 weeks through September. I think it's greedy. Like, it's gone so well. We haven't had any rain. How we avoided rain last Friday, I'll never know. This Saturday doesn't look like it's going to rain, but it is getting colder. And I just think sometimes you can milk something a little bit too long. For me, if we wrap up Fight Camp on Saturday after an amazing 4 weeks, people will be excited to bring Fight Camp back next summer. And that's what we'll be looking to do. So I think to drag it out and say, oh, we've got another one coming in a couple of weeks. I think now it's time to try something different. Start trying to return to arenas and trying to bring crowds back, slowly, seeing what they've done with the snooker, and just keep pushing the boundaries. Can we get 500, please? Can we get 1,000, please? Can we get 5,000, please? And that'll be a gradual progression once we show that it's safe to do so.
Just a couple of bits off there before we let you get back to fishing. Is Fight Camp going to be a yearly thing then, because it's gone that well?
Yeah. I mean, I never started Fight Camp saying, oh, this is going to be a yearly project, but the experience that we've had, the experience that the fans have had, and the way it can be built, it's 1,000,000% returning next year, but in a different kind of environment as well. Like, one of the blessings that we've had is in that bubble, we've been able to bring these fighters together, create loads of great content, with a diary room and stuff like that. And I think there's but I think there's a spin-off here to bring that reality element to Fight Camp without bastardising the sport and saying, oh, this is now reality. It's not. But we have to understand that's how you bring new people into the sport, by making people understand the fighters, know their personalities, and really, let people fall in love with the characters and personalities. That's what they've done with darts. That's what they did with snooker in the 80s. Once people, I like him, that guy, he's crazy. He's the Hurricane, or he's the Rocket, or he's Steve Interesting Davis, Tony Mio. And same with the darts. So we need to build those personalities, and that's a great way to do it with good quality shoulder programming, digital programming around Fight Camp itself.
For darts and boxing, when do you think that we'll have crowds back? I know chatting to Badger a minute ago, he's hopeful of the O2 playoffs, but might be a little bit too early. When are you looking for boxing and darts?
It all depends. Things, 3 or 4 weeks ago, we had the entire world champs in for crowds. Then they pulled the plug on him after the first day, which was a big kick in the nuts. Now we've got crowds that we get. So we've just had a sports event with 300 people there at the weekend. So that's progress, small progress. But we want to go back to the government now for our September shows and say, can we have 300 or 400? And then we start going into the O2. Then I think the next move for the government is to say you can have 50% of capacity, or 25% capacity in an arena. My only problem with that is it looks a bit naff.
Spaced out. It's
because
not the same,
as a promoter, when you turn around, you look at the crowd and there's empty seats. It breaks my heart. And when I was looking at the World Snooker Championship, obviously everyone knows that you're not allowed to sell every ticket. But when you look at it on TV, it looks like it's half empty. I know. So I haven't sold a lot of tickets. So we're working hard now on the basis that we might not have crowds back. So how do we make compelling content without crowds? And Fight Camp was a big tick on the list of how to do it, and now we've got to come up with the next idea.
Eddie, pleasure as always, mate. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Cheers.